If you've ever tried to screenshot a website from code, then you've probably run into this. You write a script, you run it, but then a blank screenshot comes back. Or it's just like a cookie banner in the way, or half the page is missing images. And today I'm gonna show you how to overcome these issues with Browserless. Taking a screenshot is really a simple use case, but it can get a little bit tricky due to JavaScript rendering, lazy loading, and timing issues. All those things can break a very naive capture. In this video, I'll show you 2 ways to take website screenshots with code using Browserless. First, we're gonna go over the simple REST call, which is called the Screenshot API, for when you just want a PNG, JPEG, or a base64 back. Then I'll show you the Puppeteer approach for when you need to interact with the page before taking the shot. And I'm gonna take a quick detour just because this is important to note. If you've ever written a screenshot script locally and you get back a blank PNG, it's not a bug in your code. Most websites today are JavaScript heavy. That means that the server sends you an almost empty shell and the browser runs scripts to fill it in. So if you're taking a screenshot and it's coming back blank, there could be 2 issues. One is that it's bot detection, and I'll leave some links in the description below on how to bypass that. The second one is that you may be taking the screenshot too early. That's when you want to use the wait until options. We actually have a blog post that goes over that in detail, but in a nutshell, you're basically telling it when to take the screenshot. Another issue is that if the viewport is the wrong size, big chunks of the page never render. And if you run a local Chrome at scale, it can leak memory and leave zombie processes behind that just makes your whole service die. A real browser running in a clean environment fixes all of this. And that's what these both methods that I'll cover in this video use. You don't need to install Chrome, you don't need to manage it, just ask for a screenshot. The difference between the 2 methods is how much control you want over the browser before the screenshot gets taken. Method number 1. The simplest way to screenshot a page is to let us do all the work for you, which means you'd simply send a post request to the screenshot endpoint with a URL and you get back a PNG or JPEG base64. That's the whole interaction. Before we set this up, you'll need an API key. You can find your API key on your account page in the home section. And if you don't have an account already, don't worry, we have a free plan so you can sign up today. And you don't need a credit card to get started. I'll leave the link in the description for you to sign up today. Here's what that looks like in a curl. So we're getting the screenshot endpoint and passing the token as a query parameter. The body is tiny, it has the URL we want to screenshot and an options object. I'm setting full page to true so we capture the whole page, not just the viewport. I'm also adding a wait until option just to make sure everything loads, and I'll also put the type set to PNG. Then curl writes the response straight to a file called screenshot.png. You can also wait for a specific selector, inject custom CSS or scripts, adjust the viewport size. All of that is in the options object and the docs are linked in the description. Okay, I'll run this now. You can see the file drops into my folder right away. If you open it up, then there's a full rendered page. JavaScript ran, the image is loaded, a clean screenshot with just a simple API call. And something that's very handy, you can clip a specific selector or a section of the screen instead of the whole site. Let's add a selector to clip the site and only get a screenshot of that specific element. See, it cropped the screenshot for you straight out of the box. You can do more than just pass a URL. You can send raw HTML in the body instead, and the API will render that and then screenshot the result. That's really handy for generating social share images or dynamic reports without having to host that HTML anywhere. It's the same endpoint, same options, you just swap the URL field for an HTML field. And make sure you don't use both at the same time because otherwise it won't work. This is the fastest path from 0 to screenshot, but sometimes you need to do something on the page before you capture it. And that's where Puppeteer comes in. Method 2. You use Puppeteer, the same library you would use locally, but you connect to our cloud browsers instead of launching Chrome on your own machine. This is called Browser as a Service, or BaaS for short. You keep all your code, you just change one line of code and point it to Browserless with your API key. We're importing Puppeteer core, which is Puppeteer without the bundled Chrome binary, since we don't need one locally. Then we call the connect method instead of launch. The browser WebSocket endpoint points at our WebSocket URL with your API key in the query string. After that, everything is standard Puppeteer. New page, set a viewport, go to the URL, wait for the main content, and call page.screenshot with full page set to true. Let me run it. Node boots the script, it connects over WebSocket, loads the page, waits for the selector, takes the shot, and writes it to disk. Same page.screenshot you've used before, but it's now running on managed infrastructure with zero local Chrome. You can do things on the page before the screenshot. Watch this. In this second script, I go to the page, type a search query into the input, and then press enter. Wait for the results to render, and then screenshot. That's 4 actions in one session. And at the end, I have a screenshot of the state I actually care about. The REST API can't do that all in one call. Puppeteer can. By the way, if you like this video, could you give me a like and subscribe? You can also screenshot just one element instead of the whole page. You grab an element handle with page.$, pass it a CSS selector, and call screenshot on the handle. You get a tight crop of that exact element. Here's a quick decision guide. If you just need a screenshot of a URL and you want the simplest possible integration, use the Screenshot API. One post and you'll get one PNG. It's the fastest to set up and the cheapest to run at scale. You can roughly generate about 1,000 screenshots per month on the free plan at the moment. If you already have the code working in Puppeteer or need to perform a few steps or need to persist a browser session state before taking a screenshot, then I'd recommend Puppeteer on BaaS. You can also use Playwright or any other library that supports CDP. You get full programmatic control and you're not running Chrome on your own servers. That helps a lot. In the same way you wouldn't run your database on the same server that you have your whole application, you don't want to have your browser pools on the same server. Because if Chrome goes down, everything goes down. A lot of teams use both methods at the same time. They'll use the REST API for standard URL to PNG job in bulk, and Puppeteer for the handful of workflows where they need to do a little bit more of scripting. And you can use the same account and the same API key for both products. So those were 2 ways to take a website screenshot with code, from a one-line REST API call to full Puppeteer automation. Both methods run on our cloud browsers and are available on the free plan, which doesn't require a credit card. And you can use that plan for every demo that you saw in this video. That's all for today's video. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I'll see you on the next one.